This is Tim from Mind Eye Media VR, doing my first 3D movie review in 3D. Thanks to the KooCam Ego, I figured out a way to share my love of 3D movies in 3D using the format that camera makes available. And with Apple Vision Pro making an entire library of 3D movies available to users to go along with the recent release, I figure now's as good a time as any to share my love of 3D movies in 3D, and also while we still have 3D Blu-rays before they completely go out of print. There are ways that you can rip your 3D Blu-rays so that you can watch them in virtual reality, and they look fantastic. I have an application called Skybox, which actually puts you in a virtual movie theater to watch these 3D movies exactly the way they were meant to be seen in the silver screen. I will put a link down below to the video that I used to do the Blu-ray rips, so you can enjoy these films the way they were meant to be seen as well. I decided to start my review series with a 3D film that's close to my heart. It's kind of a personal favorite of mine. It's Jaws 3. I was a big fan of the Jaws franchise, and I was just a kid when this film came out. So I was ecstatic about the possibility of seeing my favorite movie monster in 3D. After its theatrical run, the only way you could see this film in 3D was through either a Japanese Laserdisc or a bootleg of the Japanese Laserdisc. All the other ways were 2D, and honestly, if you're a 3D buff like me, that just will not do. Universal released it during the brief 3D movie revival that happened in the early 80s, and as such, they wanted everybody to know that the new Jaws movie was going to be in 3D. They had a tagline that read, "The third dimension is terror." They released a series of bubblegum cards that had anaglyph 3D artwork on them, so you would have to have a pair of anaglyph glasses to look at them. They had a battery-powered handheld video game that you had to hold up to your eyes to play it in 3D. There was even an anaglyph 3D poster for Jaws 3D that I bought, and you can see right now here, just to let you know that there's a Jaws movie in 3D. With all that hype about this movie being in 3D, we finally get this film on Blu-ray, and as you can see, it just says Jaws 3 on the cover. It's got Jaws 3 on the spine. Even the disc itself says Jaws 3, and back in the back here it says, you can see it in 3D. So yeah, nice marketing there, Universal. So let's get on with this review. I'm going to start this review with just some remarks about the 3D print that's on this Blu-ray. It does have its problems, particularly with the amount of grain on this print. It's especially noticeable in scenes that have low lighting. This print also has some alignment issues with the left and right images, which results in ghosting if you watch this print on a 3D TV set. Although I'm happy to say that this problem mostly goes away if you watch it in VR. I'm happy that we finally have a copy of this movie in 3D, but Universal really should have done much more to improve the print. To add insult to injury, Universal only added the 3D print as a bonus feature, so you'll have to go into the bonus menu to find it, and it does not have a chapter selection menu like the 2D version on the disc. Oddly though, the chapter stops in both the 2D and 3D versions are the same. Now as a movie, Jaws 3D is a big hefty slice of early 80s cheese that's watchable enough for what it is. The characters are interesting, and the cast is likable. In fact, the cast carries this film whenever the plot falters or the special effects don't work. It's not as scary as it could be, but it has much higher production values than most of what passes for sharksploitation B-movies. One of the things that sets Jaws 3D apart from the first two Jaws movies is that it does feel very fake in obvious ways. It was brilliant that Steven Spielberg and his crew decided to shoot the first Jaws in Martha's Vineyard because it added a sense of realism to the movie. It could have instead been shot on Hollywood sets pretending to be an island community, but I think something critical would have been lost if they did that. Thankfully, much of Jaws 2 was shot at Martha's Vineyard as well, and that sequel was better off for it. On the other hand, Jaws 3D was shot in a fictional version of SeaWorld. SeaWorld is a real theme park, and you'll see a lot of it in this film, but this version also has a large man-made lagoon called the Undersea Kingdom that never existed in the real world, and that's also where most of the giant shark action takes place. The shots we get of this fake lagoon are made possible through miniatures, sets with blue screens, and a large water tank for the underwater scenes. The miniatures were used to great effect for a few of the pop-out shots, but they mostly look fake. The water tank location also put stiff limitations on what they could do with the mechanical shark during the climax of the movie. The giant shark in Jaws 3D swims very slowly in the underwater scenes because I'm guessing the filmmakers didn't have very many places to put it in the water tank. The shark even swims backwards in 2 scenes, something that sharks cannot actually do, but it had to do it anyway in this movie because there wasn't any other room to move around. Overall, I like I said, I have a soft spot for this film. It was one of the first films that really brought my attention to 3D cinema, so of course I'm always going to like it, and I'm also a Jaws fan. However, this movie was built from the ground up to be a 3D movie, and it shows, so I really can't recommend watching this film unless it's in 3D. All the more reason to pick up this Blu-ray, convert it to for something you can watch in your VR headset. I think you'll have a very good time for as cheesy as it is. I hope you like this video. Please hit like and subscribe below if you did. And also, please feel free to leave any comments.